true rest for the weary soul. Matthew 11:28 to 30 reads, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavily laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Perhaps by now you are wondering whether the grace teaching you have been reading or hearing is doctrinally sound. Here's the litmus test. Kadelight, the preaching of the new covenant of grace should always exalt Christ. It should always reveal more and more of Jesus, His beauty and the perfection of His finished work on the cross. Jesus and what He has done are always glorified when true grace is taught. There is no proper grace teaching without Jesus Christ. So ask yourself, have you been hearing about Jesus and what He has done? Or have you been hearing about man and what he must do? Now, what is the effect of hearing Jesus and His finished work exalted? It leads to a life of rest and good success, because His yoke is easy and His burden is light. Today's scripture explains this very simply. Jesus was speaking to people who were weary and worn out by the requirements of the law of Moses. The yoke of the law is hard and heavy. The yoke of grace is easy and light because it involves none of you and all of Christ. He has borne the burden of sin on your behalf. Under grace, your part is to only believe on Jesus Christ. And when you believe, you are made righteous and blessed. I love this testimony from Nadia in South Africa that showcases the amazing grace that Jesus brings. This is the undeserved, unearned, and unmerited favor of God that leads to rest, joy, and true success for the weary soul. 3 years ago, I had a high-powered career with plenty of financial resources and a powerful family and a wonderful family. The flip side was constant exhaustion from a ridiculous schedule, guilt from not spending time with my young son and husband, and stress from trying to balance it all on my own. On top of everything, I had been taught that Jesus expected a perfect performance from me in order for His blessings to flow in my life. I was burnt out and very deficient in many areas of my life, including joy. As I read one of Pastor Prince's books and listened to his CDs, I began to see how Jesus paid the price for my sins to give me His righteousness and freedom, and that it was His will for me to live an abundant life, full to the brim and overflowing. Very gently, Jesus began to move me away from the success that was making me so unhappy. My husband and I made plans to change our circumstances so that I could be with my children on a more permanent basis. Despite the financial implications for our family, Jesus gave me such a shalom peace about our decision. So I left my high-powered, financially stable job to begin my own consultancy. Jesus was amazing in providing for us throughout the year, not just financially, but also in quality time. I had time to draw infinitely closer to Him, time for my family, and even time for my hobbies, which included finishing the writing of my first novel. However, being still involved with corporate life through my consultancy, I struggled to walk in the peace that Jesus promised us. The old habits I'd perform with regards to stress and worry still intruded into the new space Jesus had provided for me. Then, unexpectedly, the doors in my business began to close. Confused and uncertain, I felt as though I was in the middle of a hurricane as I tried to open the doors that would lead me to deeper into corporate consulting. But through Pastor Prince's sermon, The Key of David, or God opens doors that no one can shut, Jesus reassured me that He was in control and that I could trust Him because He loves me. I stand in awe of Jesus because He has closed doors that weren't good for me and opened doors beyond my grandest dreams. He opened the door to having my book published by one of the biggest international publishing houses in the world. In just 5 months, Jesus turned my situation around, giving me a new career in which I can reach and inspire many more people than I would ever have dreamed possible. He has provided me with family time and time to be with Him. I know from His word that He will bring me good success. I now wake up looking forward to the day with joy and expectation of His goodness, not because of anything I have done, but all because of Him. When I look back on the journey Jesus has brought me through, I can see His grace at every turn. Jesus is so kind, magnificent, and altogether lovely. He has delivered me into a truly rich and bountiful life that is full of His joy and abundance. That, my friend, is the grace of God. It provides rest and freedom from all your self-efforts. It is the unshakable basis on which you can expect God to provide for you and lead you to good success. If you are weary and heavy laden, come to Jesus, the gracious one, and learn from Him all that He has done for you. His yoke is easy and His burden is light. By His grace, find rest. Yes, true rest for your soul. Start receiving the treasures that were purchased for you by His blood and begin reigning in every area of life.